Video will be a strut replacement on a 2006 Chevy HHR. The way I do it. Okay, the first thing you want to do is loosen the strut bolts. There's 3 of them right there. 1. And then you will jack the car up from the frame. Do not put the jack under the suspension studs. And used a 13mm socket to accomplish that. Socket wrench is right there. Alright, remember to block a wheel and put your parking brake on before you jack the car up. Okay, now that it's jacked up, it's a good time to add another jack for support and safety. Alrighty, the tire's off. We're going to move on to the next step. Okay, this is the stabilizer shaft link, and that needs to be removed next. And then you remove the 2, there they are, nuts and bolts from the lower strut assembly, and then you remove the assembly. If there's a ABS, automatic braking system line attached to this strut, then you'll want to remove it to mounting at the same time. Okay, if you have another jack, this will help. Take the tension off a little bit just to make good contact on that rotor. Then take this nut loose right here. Okay. Like I said, I've never used one of those things before, and they seem to work fairly well. Okay, moving on to the other stuff. The lower bolts. By the way, I'm using the same socket that I used to take the lug nuts off with. Can you believe it? Everything's the same. Well, that one's right there. I'll get that in a minute. That one right there. Okay. I don't know how much tension is on these bolts, so I put the nuts, a few threads on the shaft. I'm going to tap on the end and see how they come out, or if they do at all. It seems to be pretty solid there. Okay, these are pressed in there. These bolts are designed not to turn when they're in here. As you can see right there. Well, where am I? Yeah, here I am. Okay. They have those threads on them. Okay, this bottom one fairly loose. I was able to wiggle it a little bit and unscrew it. I'm going to put that nut back on there. Top one's going to be a little bit different story, I think. Yeah, still got some tension. I might be able to raise this up a bit and take some of it off, or don't know yet. Maybe I can grab this kind of close. There we go. Play around with the jack a little bit, see if it's in a bind a little bit. Maybe I can get it loose like the other one to come right out. I don't like things that I have to force, because generally it's not good when you do that. So I'll get back to you in a minute. I wanted you to see how the whole assembly is loosening up now. Obviously you might want to have something under this rotor to keep it dropping all the way to the ground. Well, maybe not all the way to the ground, who knows. I'm sure it's going to go quite a ways closer though. Anyway, I'm going to get this bolt out and I'll tell you what happens in a minute. Okay, I just had to tap on it a little, whoops, and it got looser, as you can see. But I'm holding this camera, I'm not left-handed, so I'm going to put it down and come back to it. Okay, I just tapped on a little more, it got looser, and I put the drift or punch, whatever you want to call it, I don't know. And it'd come right out. Tapping on it, no problems. And so I'm basically free. This thing probably, excuse me, this strut is now, I'm going to probably have to pull this forward this way, pull the caliper forward most likely a little bit, take it loose from here, and then I should be able to slide the strut out. Make sure I get that out of the way again. Looks like I got that in. I got the stabilizer shaft wanting to go right back in the hole there. So I got to get it out of there too. Anyway, let me go ahead and proceed instead of holding all this camera equipment, and I'll get back to you and tell you what happens. This is the spring compressor I'll be using. I bought it. Okay, you mount these on the spring opposite each other, and then kind of hard to do with one hand. Anyway, you push these pins back like that on each end. Put it over the spring opposite this other one, and push the pins forward. Yeah, it's easier said than done, right? Anyway, I'll have to have two hands to do this. But anyway, you push the pins forward and they lock onto the spring like that. And then you tighten this nut down equally on each side so this one doesn't get out of, more tension than the other one. And I'm not going to use an air wrench for this. I'm going to do it manually so I can kind of feel the thing as I go. Then when the tension is off, when you got this spring compressed, that'll be the time that I will be taking this nut loose right here, and it looks like it calls for a special tool, so this could be interesting. See how I do that one. Anyway, I'll get back to you on that in just a minute. I had to put this in a vise so I could hold it, and the OEM strut compressor really worked here. McPherson strut compressor, OEM manufacturer, bought it Napa, about a little less than 40 bucks. Anyway, you'll know it's time to take the nut off the end here, right there, when you get this spring loose like this. These struts do not look too bad. If you have the special tool that fits this, where you can hold it with a Torx at the same time, then it would make it a lot easier. But if you don't, you can put it in a vise like this, and it'll break free. And then all you got to do is just hold the shaft a little bit. You don't even put any marks on it. Put a rag around it, even though you may not be using this thing again. Okay, it just happened. I just happened to think that you might want to note the position of everything as it applies to the new one you're going to put on. Possibly this blue paint and this blue paint would line the spring up with this, and that's about where that was. After I removed it from the vise, I never moved it. Okay, this is what the underside looks like. Took the top piece off right there. And there's the nut. Quite a nut. They give you these pieces right here. Okay, here's the shaft. There is no piece under it. You can see a little better the Torx that come in here. Now the new one has a shaft that you can put a wrench on. Anyway, this is going to come off with two hands. I'm going to take two hands and I'm going to pull this off and I'm going to put it on the other one, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like. I'm back, or me and the camera. So I've got the nut on here, all the parts are back on, they're still very loose. I'm going to go back to the vise, put this in the vise, this part in the vise, and then I'm going to tighten this nut down inside here to 55 foot-pounds. That's the required torque on this from the book. Holding it right there. Take this, and with my other hand I'm holding down on this because it wants to turn, the whole assembly wants to turn like that. Anyway, I'm loosening these up, this one and this one, equally, and letting this spring come back up into there. You can see it's still kind of a gap. anyway, that's where I am with that, and then we'll see if she fits. I'm just really curious to see if I got these 3 holes going to match up with the 3 on the fender well inside there. Okay, I'll be back. Here's the new shock. I mean the new strut. Go ahead, dear. She's pushing it down.
Yeah. Not easy either. Okay.
Okay, let go. Comes right back on its own. Okay, now.
You want the old one?
Oh, wait. Okay. And here's the old one.
Sort of coming up.
You can pull it back on your own.
It's right up.
So anyway, push it down again. Now turn loose. Top studs, they didn't line up with the holes, so what I did is I went ahead and I put them in the holes, put the nuts on the top, screwed them down finger tight. Then I came back down here and I took my handy little thing here and punched, and I just twisted it. It was very easy to do. I mean, twisted it to line it up with this, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jack this up, get it close to the bottom hole right here, push it forward. Well, I'm going to use 2 hands, put my gloves back on. I'll push it forward and get the bottom pin in. And by the way, this is it. I separated them, the top ones over there. I like to put things back in the holes that they came in. Okay, this stabilizer nut is 59 foot-pounds. These are 89 foot-pounds. And I use the electric torque wrench on this bottom one, pull it up, pull the stuff up. So anyway, pull it up in tight. This is how this works. I will go back and check for torque. This electric thing has no torque setting on it whatsoever. Okay, so there it is, everything down to torque. All the bolts here. Got that socket off with the screwdriver I just put behind it and pried right off, came off. Hammer loosened it up some, I think. Anyway, and those are all down to torque. And so there you have it. Now all you gotta do is put the tire back on and be good to go.